Hello, Professor Allen. So I'm going to be going over my RSA assignment. So my RSA that I chose to do for the 20 hours or 5 week assignment was to do a inventory management system. So all of like the what went right stuff like that will be in the document that I will send in with this video. But I did successfully create a inventory system where the player can pick up the objects and show them in an inventory and then also use them or drop the items back on the ground. Um, so this is just like a very basic inventory system. Some of the ways I can make this better is I could have these items stack, or I could do just a better UI overhaul management system where it's more script based instead of just UI based or um, game object based. It's strictly just scriptable. There are many different ways I could kind of go about doing this, but I just did kind of the basic inventory management where the player can see the items, pick them up, show them in the inventory of the UI. Player can use it and then drop it, etc. Um, So first things first, I'll kind of go a better layout of the hierarchy. I have the main camera, light source, and then I have the player script here, or the player, where he has the movement script for the player to like walk around and be able to pick up the objects. And then I have the inventory script here, so that way I did a array where I determine how many objects that the player can pick up at a time, and then it will have like the UI slots here as well. Um, and then I just did a canvas for the overall game where I just have my three little UI here and the X mark showcasing where the items will be stored, which is here. And then I have a drop mark here above it showcasing like if the player clicks on this button, it'll drop the item. And then I have, of course, my items here that the player can interact with where it's just a coin and a food item and then just a standard like background. So I will go ahead and showcase this within the game. So as you can see, like the player can move around. I can go over these objects. It'll pick it up. And then as you can see, the item here is in the inventory and I can go ahead and click it because there's a shadow. If I click it, it'll do stuff like it'll heal the player if they wanted, um, or uh, do other things. I can also click X, it'll drop it. Um, Same with coin. Right now they haven't updated because I didn't implement that, but that wasn't really the point of this system. It was more of just kind of get the inventory going and then like pick it up as well. And then if the player wanted to use it, they could. I would just have to make it to where when they click on the item, uh, do this. But right now, all it does is just pick up the item, show it, drop it. Basic, very basic inventory. Um, so how I have my project set up here is I have a couple of prefabs. The bread button. So that way when the player uh, clicks on the button, it'll do something. And then I have the prefab of the bread with a box collider and a pickup script. Same with the coin. So that's the prefab. And then I just have 5 scripts here where I have the main inventory script um, here, which I'll go ahead and showcase here. Give me 1 second. Let's see. That's the wrong one. There it is. Um, so basically what this is, it's just a boolean where it keeps track of if the items are full, and then it has game objects that the slots where that keeps track of how many objects that the player will be able to interact with, and then an int, which is the total amount of items that the player can pick up and store. And then the pickup script is similar, where all of that is just where it takes the inventory from script, and then it gets a game object and ties it in with an item button. On start, it will check to see if there's an inventory script attached to the player. And then on trigger enter is where when the player picks up that item, it'll do this, where it'll check to see if it's there. If there's no items in the slot of the inventory, put an item in it. If it's full, move on to the next one. The player movement is just very basic movement system where all it does is it allows the player to move multi-directional. The slot script is all in charge of how many slots that the player can interact with for an inventory. If the player has, 4 slots, um, then that player can have 4 items in their inventory. This is all this checks with, and it also ties in with inventory. The spawn system is what spawns the items in for the player after they click on the drop mark button. If they click on that, it will drop the item down onto the level. So that is kind of the overall basic version of my inventory management system. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want more questions, just ask. I also have all of my comments, my strategies, and what I did right and wrong. If I succeeded, more on the document. But overall, I did learn a lot from this, and everything works the way it's supposed to. I don't have any errors that happen in the project itself. So yeah.